Hey, there we go. Right on time. How are you doing, Grania?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. So welcome everyone to the Adobe Express Digital Leaders session. I know we've got Denby High in here already because their wonderful teacher, Miss Darcy, has already sent me a message. You can put some comments in to say hello. Tell us what you're doing. Tell us what you had for lunch. Tell us what your cat had for breakfast. Whatever you like, stick it in the comments. Grania, what are you all about? What are you famous for?
Well, I'm not famous at all. No.
You're famous
so
in
I'm
my
here.
world.
Yeah. Well, I'm here in Northern Ireland. I'm from AMA Creative Learning Centre. So hello to any Northern Ireland schools joining us today. You may have heard of me or any of my colleagues up in Nerve Belfast or Nerve Derry. So yeah, that's what we're all about, creative learning.
And if you haven't heard of Grania, you have now. So, welcome to everyone. We're going to do this session on the anniversary of the Titanic, which was on which date, Grania?
14th of April. I've
The
remembered that.
14th. What
Yeah.
year?
1912.
1912. There you
Yeah.
go. Grania's got all the best facts and figures. That's why she's here. And we're going to be doing two challenges today. If you need the accompanying page to this session, you can see it on the scrolly down the bottom there, bit.ly/Titanic Express. And that has all sorts of facts and figures, words, images, things like that. That will help you get through this session. So do have a look at that. Now, before we get going, the way it works is I'll be doing stuff in the browser. So if you're on a laptop, Chromebook, desktop, anything like that, you'll be mostly focused on the stuff I'm doing. If you're using an iPad or anything like that, you'll be looking at Grania. But they are very, very similar.
Yeah.
So what happens is, Grania will do a bit or I'll do a bit. And then, we'll switch over and that'll give you time to catch up with what we're doing, sort of fiddle about with the things that you're doing. So do just use both things because Grania has some brilliant ideas and we'll be able to help each other in that way. What else do we need to say? Yes, you can pause this video whenever you like. Do work alongside us. When we're doing stuff, you should be doing stuff on your Express experience, however you've got it. So do work alongside us. But if you need to pause it at any point, if you feel like you're getting really far behind, that's absolutely fine. Just pause it. There's no problem with that at all. And so what we'll do is we'll do the first challenge, and then we'll sort of give you 5 minutes at the end, to work on and improve things like alignment and colors and mess around and things like that. And then we'll be sharing work and we'll be having a look at some of those examples of your work online and giving you some feedback and stuff like that before we go on to challenge 2. Now, Grania, what happens if these wonderful digital leaders who we have online here, what happens if they complete both of their challenges?
Oh, they get swag.
They do get swag. They
I don't
do
know,
get swag.
where's my swag? Am I getting any swag?
I'm not sure you're getting any swag. Depends how if you behave yourself. I've
No.
heard bad reports, so you're on your best behavior here, and then you might well get swag. But what happens if they then go on and teach it to other pupils, students, learners in their schools? What happens then?
They get VIP swag.
They get VIP swag. Have you ever had VIP swag?
Yes. Yeah.
There you go. I've never had it, but I wouldn't know what I was like. I'd have to be a VIP to get that. But you can be a VIP by teaching it to other people in your schools. So please do have a go at that as well, because that's what digital leaders are all about, sharing the knowledge with other people. Right. Enough waffle from me. You'll have loads of waffle, so you might want to mute me at any point, and that's fine as well. Let's have a look at what we're doing. Okay. It's the Titanic Digital Leaders Challenge. Okay, so if you need to access this page, and you can use short links in your school, bit.ly/Titanic Express. If you're using an iPad whizzy thing, what can they do with that QR code on the screen, Grania?
So it's very handy. You can use the camera app to scan it, and it should pop up with a little link there, and you just tap it, and it should take you right there.
Yeah, exactly that. Right. Okay. So let's have a look at what we're going to do today. Well, we've got 2 challenges in here. The first one is the graphic design challenge. We're going to be creating a vintage Titanic poster from yesteryear. What a word yesteryear is. It means everything and nothing. So there you go. There is also a little video tutorial if you want to catch up later on as well. And then we're also going to be doing challenge 2, which was web design. We're going to be creating a web page to show off some Titanic research. And you can see there, it's got we've got a Word doc. So if I click that, it opens up this Google Doc here. Blimey, we've got all sorts of people in there already. We've got someone who's an anonymous anteater, so that's good. And we're going to be using this to build our web page. Now, I think what we're going to do is challenge 2 first. Are you cool with that, Grania?
Yeah, that's fine by me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right. So we're going to crack on because we've got 1 hour and 15 here. And if we play our cards right, we'll get both of our challenges done. We'll be able to give feedback on all sorts of work and stuff like that. So let's crack on with challenge 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I've got my words up, bit.ly/Titanic words, and that has that here. And once we've got that up, it's all about getting started with starting your web page. So Grania, why didn't you kick us off? Show us just how to do it on the iPad, and then I'll take it back and get us started. They are very similar, iPad and the browser experience, in terms of creating a web page. So this should be pretty easy.
Yes. So the only slight difference is that you have different apps for your different elements that you get in Adobe Express on the browser. So we're going to be using Spark Page, and you can see it here up in the top right. So it looks like a little square icon. So when I open up that, you're only dealing with creating pages in here, okay? And very simple, it keeps it very simple. There's a big blue button at the bottom. You just hit the plus button and it takes you right in. And if you've used the browser, you can see it's very, very similar here. So I'm just tapping where it says add a title and just go with the Titanic. You might be able to come up with something a little bit more exciting. You could have the Titanic anniversary. And for the subtitle, I'm just going to put in my name.
Good stuff. Right. Let me show people on the browser how to get into that as well. It is extremely similar. So let's press the big plus, just like Grania did. And then this time we have everything in here, you see. It's a bit different in the browser experience. And then we're going to go down to web page. And then just the same as it did with Grania's, you've got this, set up here. So I'll put the anniversary of the Titanic. There we go. Subtitle, I'll stick my name in as well. And then if you press you can click anywhere in this gray square. Don't leave it gray. That was just going to make us really sad. And Grania gets really angry and you don't want to see that. So click that one there. You can change this to a short cover. I generally not that into that. It's kind of better if you think it wants to be a website, but I'm thinking about this as a web presentation. You can also do split layout, but we're going to be doing split layouts in this, so I'm not really going to want to don't really want to do that. So I'll change it back to a cover. You can change that by clicking in the white and then change it to a cover. There you go. Now, in terms of the photo we're going to put in there, you can go here. Now, you can search Adobe stock for Titanic, but generally the results are pretty poor, which is a shame. So what I'm actually going to encourage you to do is go to the page that we set up for this, Titanic Express, bit.ly/Titanic Express. Go down here, and then there's all sorts of images here. So what I'm going to do is, I think for my header, I'm probably going to choose this one because, that is an incredible picture. I don't know how it was generated, but it's really good. So I'm going to right-click it and then save image as, and then I'll call it Titanic header. There we go. Now it downloads. I've already done it once before, so I'll just replace that. And you can see it's downloaded at the bottom of my machine there. So now, when I go back to Express, I can upload a photo. And then I can search for Titanic Express. What do they call it? Titanic header. There we go. And then click open. And there it is. Very nice. Now, you can also do things like move the title so it kind of frames the picture, which is kind of nice. I quite like that. Right, now that we've done that, this is so similar on the app version that I'll kind of go for the first section, and then we'll pass it over to Grania. So here, the anonymous dingo has got his cursor in that place. Nice one, anonymous dingo. Right, I'm just going to copy that first section. On the 9th of April the 14th, 1912, the RMS Titanic chugged through the frigid waters of the North Atlantic Ocean, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's where we're going to go first. And you see it says scroll to start writing your story. Scroll, these options come up. I'm just going to select text. I'm going to paste in that first section. And then I'm going to click anywhere in there. And then you get all the formatting options. Okay, so I might just go header 1. Now, this is Grania and I were talking about this before. This is kind of a typical thing they do in sort of articles and newspapers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of that little bit, to attract the audience. And sometimes people don't like a load of big text straight away. They need a little bit to sort of entice them in to read a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly that. And so you can format it in different ways. Header 2, if you think that's better, or even you can do the quote function. But I think header 1 is how I'm going to keep it here. Right, so to help out the iPad people and to let people catch up, Grania, just go through that for us.
Okay, so I'm going to add my photo into the background here. And just to show you how you save on the iPad, if we're in our website, we can just press and hold. And let's see, it won't let me save that one. But if you
open it up in big, then it'll work better.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Let's go back here. And that's it up in there, is it?
There you go.
Save photos. So we're just to save even in Google or anything, you just press and hold it until it gives you the option to save in photos, automatically puts it into your Photos app, which means then when we go here to add our photo, if we go to on my iPad, it's going to automatically take you to your Photos app. And you can access all the photos that you've saved. So I'm going to go for this nice big dramatic one here. And then I'm just going to scroll down and I can start to add my text. So I've saved the document as well. Just highlighted the first little section there and did a copy. So if you need to do that, you just press and hold, highlight it, and then it automatically should come up copy. And then we can go back and paste it in. So I'm just tapping. Paste, and as soon as you add any text, you can see along the top there, you've got all your options for making any kind of alterations. So I'm going to choose heading 1 as well, have it nice and big. And that's us. Maybe to put my full stop there. And maybe
that's a good literacy point. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's crack on with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of this section right down to the URL that's there as well. I'm going to copy that. So copy is Control-C or Command-C, depending on what you're using. Or if you're on an iPad, just highlight it, and then it'll give you the option to copy. Go back to my doc here, scroll down. Now, once I got to the bottom, again, you get all these options coming up. So let's click Split Layout. Image on the left-hand side, text on the right-hand side. You can flip that if you want. That's fine. Why not? Let's do that now. And then I'm going to add in my text just by clicking the plus, click text. Again, paste it in there. Now, what can we do with all of this? Well, the first thing I want to do is this link as it is now is a bit rubbish. Like, who's going to kind of, but that doesn't look very enticing at all. So let me cut that. So that's Control and X or Command and X. And then I'll just get rid of read more. We don't need that. And then I can press the plus, go to button, stick in my URL, and then write read more in there. I'm going to align it to the center because that's what a good designer would do. And then I click save, and look at that, read more, and it's an active button. It works how you would expect the button to work. Okay, now other things that you can do is things like I could put my cursor in the section here. I could press return. I could put it in there, press return. And then this bit here that's talking about first class section, gourmet meals, heated pool, squash courts. Sounds like a weekend in Granya's life, actually. And then I'm going to press the quote function. And look at that. Nice. I like that. Makes it look very posh, which I'm into. And then on the right-hand side here, I'm going to do add your image. And Grania, give me something that I can search in here to get me a really nice photo.
So I haven't had my lunch yet, so let's go get some gourmet food up there.
Gourmet food. Grania always has gourmet food. Okay, let's go for something like that. Yeah, that looks like worthy of the Titanic. I hope they managed to eat it before it sank. Oh, that would be a real shame. Right. Okay. So we've got that there. That looks good to me. And then I think I'll just do another split layout for this section here. Maybe I'll go for. Let's have a think here. I'll just grab this section here. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down again. Again, the options come up. Press split layout, and you see this time the image was on the right hand side. Now it's on the left hand side, and that's a nice way of allowing some variation for the brain, so it keeps it active. And it's like, oh, look at this. This is all new. And then I'm going to paste in my section here. Now, what can I do here? Well, I'm looking for something like. I'm looking for a keyword. So lifeboats would be a good one. So I'm going to copy that. And on the left, I'll click add your image. And rather than gourmet food, I'll put in lifeboats. See what we get. And that one's quite cool. I mean, it's a bit more modern than it might be. Do you think?
I don't know. It looks pretty. Yeah, it's got the wooden planks and stuff. It looks, authentic enough.
It does, doesn't it? And then you can do things like changing the focal point, so that you can see more of the lifeboat if you want. There you go. And that just brings it down ever so slightly. Now, what you could do is, I would say, this is an interesting fact here. The steamship carried just 20 lifeboats, only enough to hold about half of the passengers. And the reason why that is because they actually thought too many lifeboats on deck would make things look ugly.
I know.
That was a bit of a shame, wasn't it?
I guess they thought it was never going to sink. But do you think they were tempting fate by calling it unsinkable?
Yeah. Some lessons to be learned there for sure. So I'm going to make that into the quote function as well, because again, we're looking for consistency here. You see, anytime that I think there's a fact which should be highlighted, I'm always using the quote function, and that's what you should always do, because then it sort of breaks it up for the reader and says, hey, this is a really interesting point. So there we go. We've done our two split layouts. Grania, over to you to do those as well. And this is the time for you to be able to catch up.
Okay, so I'm going to hit my plus down at the bottom, and I'm going to choose split layout as well. I've copied my text from the document, so I'll pop that in here first. And again, just tapping. And sometimes you need to have a little bit of patience with the iPad, because it takes a while for things to pop up. So just paste it in when you see that, and let's copy this little bit, or link. So let's copy, and I'm going to delete it. Don't need this. And this time we can choose our button. So paste your link in first, get that in, and then we're going to type in read more. And we were saying yesterday, sometimes, people on your website, they need to be told exactly what to do with something. So read more, click here, that kind of thing.
Yeah, call to action. That's a good point.
So I've centered it there, and I'm going to hit done. And then add your image, and let's just see how we can search here. So you're just tapping on find free images. I'm going to see if we can get a nice gourmet restaurant, because that was one of the things I remembered from the film.
Yeah.
Was how much the restaurant looked. Have we got anything there that might look?
We maybe just restaurant and see what you get.
Maybe restaurant. I think I'm going too fancy there.
Oh, nice.
We got some. Trying to find something. Oh, this looks like you might get this in the Titanic.
Oh yeah, that's old school.
So yeah. So we're kind of breaking up the imagery here as well, aren't we? We're kind of, you know, varying it up so it's not all just ships. You can think of some other things to keep your audience interested. So I'll choose another split layout. I'm just going to copy. So we did this little bit.
We need to go up to the previous section.
So can we undo somewhere there? No? Okay. I'll delete that in a wee second. I'll go in here and tap. All right. So let's find our little quote, tap there, and then we can change that into a quote.
Very nice.
So add my image in here. And as I say, if you can't find something suitable, you can always go to Google. And I think sometimes maybe slightly easier on the iPad because, you know, it saves it straight away into your photos.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, I quite like that one there.
Yeah, very nice.
And if we tap on it, it gives us the opportunity. We can maybe put a bit more of a focus on the actual life-saving ring. Yeah, so that's us. I'm going to go in here and we can get rid of this. There we go.
Oh, yeah, so you just did select all on that. Nice. All right, cool. Right, we've got our split layouts done. Let's go back here. Right, so now we've got this. This is the last kind of chunk that we're going to put in here. I'm actually going to break it into two. This is going to be my first section. This is going to be my second with this YouTube link in here. Now, I'm going to do this as a glide show. And when you do a glide show, you need to know what images you want to put in first, okay? So I'm looking for two keywords, one for this section. And I think in this one, I'm going to use iceberg. There it is. And then in the next section, this video is all about people who are still diving down to the wreck, the shipwreck of it. So actually, I might search for something like deep sea divers. So if I go back to Express and then scroll down, I'll go to Glide Show. So the first one was iceberg, right? Let's have a look. There's all sorts of different ones here. I'm looking for something quite dramatic. That one looks pretty cool. I mean, actually, maybe I'm going to delete that one because you could probably see that iceberg coming. You know, if ever there was an iceberg that you could see, that would be one of them. Anyway, this one was one that you got before, which is good, I think. And then the other one was deep sea diver, because you will be amazed at the level of kind of, oh, this one's good. Look, he's kind of, or she, he's on. Let's pretend that's the Titanic. Cool. So click save. And then what it brings you, see, this is our split layout here. And then you go to the glide show and look at this. Yeah.
That's nice.
Very nice. Now that, you know, you can mess around with the focal point of these as well. So it's kind of cutting off the top of the iceberg. So let me click save there. There you go. And then you can also move the text box. I'm going to move it over to the right-hand side so we can see this iceberg in all its terrifying glory. And then I will grab this. I'll go back here. I'll add in my text. See, only 700 people would survive. And what I think up here, it says like there's 2,000 something people on there. 2,200. So only 700 survived, which is incredible, really. And then I think this quote's a good one. Took 3 years to build and it sunk in less than 3 hours. So again, I'm going to make that into my sort of quote. I think that's a really good one. And then if I scroll down, then we've got, again, our deep sea divers being lost there. So let's bring her back in by putting that right up to the top. That's cool. And I'll keep it on the left-hand side because the diver is a good focal point, I think. And then I'll grab this bit, go over here, put the text in. Now, what can you do with this? Well, I'm going to grab it, select it, I'm going to cut it, and then press the plus, go to video, put it in there, click save, and there you go. That's Titanic footage, and it's an interview with I think it's a British scientist who's still, going down and doing all sorts of investigations on the Titanic. He's been doing it for years. So mad. Like, watch that video. It's completely bananas. Right. Yeah. Back over to Grania for that glide show. It's time to catch up with the glide show.
Okay, so we're going to tap on glide show and let's look for some icebergs. And it's always good, I think, when we're picking images, thinking about, space for where you're going to put your text. That it's not too busy. Isn't that a good idea? Like yours had plenty of space around it to kind of work with. Let's go with this one.
No, nice.
And then we're looking for, I need to go and add another one in.
So just tap on that photo.
Edit photos.
Yeah.
Let's look for deep sea diver. What have we got? Oh, this one's quite nice, isn't it? Even though it's, yeah.
Very nice.
Okay, so let's hit done and then we can go get our text in. So I've copied that little section. I'm going to just paste it in. And if we scroll up, let's get our quote on that one. And then I need my second part, which is this bit. No, I don't want to select all. There we go.
Oh, cool image.
So let's copy our YouTube bit. Copy. And then when we hit our plus, we can choose video and just paste it in there. So easy to come up with something so slick, isn't it?
Yeah, very absolutely, yeah.
And I did include all these different bits to keep people interested because some of the footage that they have of the Titanic now underwater is brilliant.
Yeah, well, exactly that. Okay, let's go back here. Now, I did hear that from one teacher that people are struggling, or that at least her school are struggling to access this. It is open access, so it might be that your school doesn't have access to Google Docs. There's not a lot we can do about that, but you can also just Google stuff. Just Google key facts. 4 key facts about the Titanic, and then just have 4 sections. One split layout, 2 split layouts, a glide show with 2 things, and just put a few facts in. That's all you need. But do play around with putting things like buttons in, put things like videos in, and playing around with layouts and things like that, and formatting. So it's not important whether you use this text or not. It's important that you build this page. So have a go at that. Right, just to finish this off, I've got this one kind of line at the end. This is my closing line. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go into Express. I'm going to scroll right down past my glide show and go to text. And then all I'm going to do is paste that in. And if you look back at the top, you see that we had this in header 1. This was kind of our opening statement. And now we're going to go right to the bottom and we'll have like a closing statement. So here you don't want it to be that small because, it kind of gets lost. So making it into header 1. So more than 100 years after the Titanic tragedy, its story remains afloat, which is a good bit of play on words there as well. Its story remains afloat. Okay, so now that you've done that, let's have a look at a couple of other things that you can do. Themes, you can change themes. You can, I mean, one that I really like is the Wesley theme, actually. And it changes things like the fonts, it changes things like the formatting. You can see these header ones are now all in caps. If I click that, it'll change things like the fonts. You see, this is a slightly more serif font, so it's got little flicks on the text and stuff like that. But also the quotes they come in capitals as well, and they also are top and tailed by these little sort of subtle lines here. So I quite like that, and also the title as well. You know, it kind of comes in this little thing, but you can just change them up. Luca's another one that I used to use quite a lot. That's kind of nice. Bit of a different style, but you see that the quote function is now different as well. Quite like that. It's quite Luca's quite a good one for the quote function, but you see the button is different as well. Now, whenever you want to check your work, you can press present, and it'll load up. This is before you've published. You haven't published yet, and now all I'm going to do is use my left and my right arrows to scroll through. This is on the if you've got a keyboard, that is. So there we go. That's our first opening statement. Scrolls through to our first split layout. Nice quote function here. Nice button that we can click on. It'll take us to an external web page. Then you can go this one. You've got the lifeboat image. We brought it down using the focal point, which is kind of nice. You can see more of the lifeboat. Again, we've got this quote function, which works really well. Then it's our first glide show. Get that one nice and simple. Second glide show, you've got your video in there. If you click it, you don't even have to leave the page. I mean, if that doesn't float your boat, I don't know what else does. And then last but not least, there we go. So this is much more of like a web story than a web page. I think it's a much nicer way, and the BBC use this quite a lot. Nice way to do things. Right. I will. I'll tell you what. I'll just share it quickly, and then Grania, you can do the same thing with yours. Okay. So I'm going to click share, publish and share link, and then create link. Now this is usually pretty fast. There's not loads of things that it needs to render like you would in a video, for example. And then once it's gone through to the end, you'll be able to share it via Google Classroom if you use that. You see there. And then Microsoft Teams, so you can add it to assignments and stuff like that. Or you can just copy that and you can email that to whoever you want. Okay, Grania, how does that work on the iPad, please? How do you present it? And how do you also share it, please?
Yeah, so I have just added in my little quote. So up on the top right, you see you've got 4 little icons. The first one is our themes, just if you wanted to change the theme on the iPad. Looks like a little magic wand. And then the third one over is a little play button. So that kind of gives you the preview, how it would look kind of live published.
Yeah,
so,
very cool.
Yeah. Okay, and then you can just hit close, and then you're ready to kind of share your link and publish your link.
And that's the fourth one on the right, is the very last one.
So it's the share button you usually see on an iPad, the little square with the arrow. I'm just going to hit create public link, and that automatically will copy it to your clipboard. So it's waiting to be copied. So you want to go then and mail it or paste it into a document or wherever you want to go with it.
Cool.
Okay.
Right. So you can see down the bottom here, you've got your share your work link. So if you want to submit your work, I'll show you how to do that very quickly. So if I copy my link, I've got it. Then we'll do some live feedback on this session. So I'm going to go to that link that's down the bottom, bit.ly/share express. There we go. It's also in as a button on the page here, you see, so you can share your work just by clicking that. It'll bring you through to here. And then again, you can put your name in. You don't have to if you don't want to. Ask your teacher, is that all right? It's not a required field. Put your school in and then a link to your project. You can stick it in there and then click submit. And then it's going to come through to our form, and we'll put some of the first ones up on screen and we'll have a look at them. So we're going to give you about 5 minutes for that now. And then where am I looking here? I'm looking for a little bit of music to put in the background. And what I'll also do is during this time, I'll also go through the whole process from scratch and show you how to build it. So if you're missing any parts of it, you can have a second look, and I'll just do it quite quietly in the background. Okay. So very similar to the iPad as well. Press the plus. I'll get you going. So don't forget that I downloaded, there we go. I downloaded one of the images from the page. You see this one? So if you need an image, go down to the bottom here. This one's quite a good one. So if I wanted to replace it with this one, for example, then all I'd have to do is click, press replace, upload. That one, it's Titanic. EW, there it is. And then immediately it goes in. Okay, you can move this around if you want. It'll just align separately. Actually, I think it works quite well here. So play around with the layout. You don't necessarily have to, follow what we do religiously. You can have a little play around. So, gourmet meal. I'm going to use that as my keyword for the image. Okay. How do you make a button? Go to button. So you add in your URL in the second field, and then whatever your call to action is. There it is. Center it. Make sure you center it, or Glenn will get upset. And then delete that you don't need. And then maybe I will highlight this section. Always nice to format the text, just breaks it up for the reader. Okay, think of it as kind of like a magazine style thing. Okay. And then I grab my second one, scroll down, split layout, image is now on the other side, add in my text, do some formatting to break it up. What else am I going to do? Lifeboats. Use that as my image. Okay. You're looking for something kind of, it's a little bit more traditional. Something like that. Rather than like an RNLI boat, that wouldn't fit so well. Okay. And then once you've done that, you're onto your glide show. So that's it. That's two sections, two images. Let's use iceberg for our first image. Where do I read this one? So scroll down, choose glide show. Iceberg. Okay, maybe something like that. And then shipwreck. You could put something like that in. Okay, so you want it kind of under the. Oh, this one's a good one. Look at that.
Ooh,
That is a good one, isn't it? And click save. So here, I mean, you can actually put the box in the center as well. It does make it a lot wider. I might save that for the second one, because then it will be. Well, no, let's try it on this. Why not? So this one here. Put my text in, and this section here, I'll make that into the quote function. I mean, actually, the thing with this image or this box, this text box, is that Actually, if it does go in the center, you can't really see the image behind. So I might put it over to the side, then at least you see some detail of the iceberg. And then for my last one, I'll grab that. Scroll down. I'll keep it on the left. I think that's pretty good. Nice to see the fish. And then here, grab that. Get the video. Put the URL in there. And then it embeds the video automatically, which is cool. And then the last section, grab that. And like Bronya was saying, you've got the oh, I didn't do my first section in here. Blimey. Right, let's do my opening statement. Put it in at the top. Stick it in. Header 1. Make it nice and big. And then the closing statement. Let's put it in as text. And then you've got this little play on words here. Oh, wrong one. Go in here. And again, format it the same. So keep consistency of quotes or, you know, standout pieces of text, consistency of the opening and the closing. Okay. And then once you've done that, you can press present to check your work. And I'm going backwards up to the top here. It doesn't really matter either way, really. I like the way that everything's just on one slide. You don't have to scroll within the slide. And if you're happy, press share, publish and share link, create link, and that's the one that you can then go to bit.ly/share express and stick it in there. So if I go back on that one, just put your details in there. Right, let's have a look at some work that's come in. Let's scroll right the way down. You see, so it's all anonymous here, so you won't, unless you want it to be recognized for what you've done. Okay, right, let's get cracking. All sorts of stuff going on here. Let's have a look. Okay, we got one of these here. Let's open this one. Let's get a bit of a selection going on. Points pass. Good to see. Oh, the person who's put that one in from points pass. If I just zoom in here, you see this link here. It's really long, and that's because in your page you've given us this one at the top. You can't give us that. We can't see that one. The only one that you can give us is the published link. So you have to press share, publish, and share that one. Otherwise, we won't be able to see it. You see, this one's a good one. We can have a look at that. Right. Let's see what we've got going on here. Joseph. Nice. I like the theme you've used there. Nice image in the background. Oh, this is nice.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Little window.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. I like that. He's done well. Yeah, okay, that's a good way. That's pretty gourmet. I like that. Yeah, playing around with all sorts of stuff. Got a good link in there, got his button in there, got his call to action, read more. That's good. Good stuff. I like that. Kept that one nice and simple. Good stuff. Couple of different quote functions there. Gone into a glide show. There we go. Cracking image that you found there. This is great. Well done, you. More about the Titanic. There you go. So you got both there. You've got it embedded and you've got it as a button, which is great. Well done. I'm into that. Oh, that one's a post. Right, we got one from Emma Kennedy, anniversary of the Titanic. Nice stuff. Okay, started off with a split layout. So that's good. Go on here. Oh, this is nice. They put it in as underneath the image, which is pretty cool. Nice. So different text kind of formatting there, and then gone down again using this style of putting the image in and then text underneath. Split layout again. Gone through to a glide show. Yeah, very cool. Oh, that's great. Well done. Okay, let's see if we've got any more. Let's go to 100. There were a couple here that I went past. Looking for a page, looking for a page, looking for a page. Let's try this one. Oh, there we go. There's another one. Amy, good stuff. Look at that. I choose the storybook one. I like that. That's a good one. Yeah, nice. I like this. Very artistic. Use the same photo. Hey, get your own photo. Yeah, this is very nice. I like that. Setting that out. Yeah, okay, cool. More text. Go to, well, actually, that's a video, that one, so maybe you could embed that. Yeah, that's good. I like that. And you got the video in there, which is great. Played around with some slideshow stuff. Very cool. This is like becoming a photo essay now, which is nice. Gourmet food. There you go. Yeah, good stuff. What were you going to say, Grania?
I was just saying, there's great, and different fonts give different pages different styles. Like that last one's more like a kind of almost like a diary entry, you know.
Yeah. Kelsey, yeah, nice. Started off well there. Good stuff. Read more. Yeah, it goes through to a good link. Yeah, good stuff. You're putting it all in there. More text. You could also put that as a video. Good stuff. Some nice food in there. Glide show. Oh, look at that. That's like a memorial. Good stuff. You can see on the gravestone there, died April the 15th, 1912. Wow. Again, good use of images. And we'll check out one more before we move on. What have we got? Mia, oh, she used the Luca theme. Good stuff. Read more. You put that in as a hyperlink. I like that. That's a different way of putting in a link. Good stuff. Good use of images. So you're being able to download those. Nice use of the text. That's actually a photo. That's an inline photo, I think, with a caption. So that's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's all sorts of different ways in which you can present work, and that goes through to YouTube video. You could put that in as an actual video as well. Good stuff. Right, let's move on now to challenge 2. Let's get rid of that. And so we're actually challenge 1, really, I suppose. But this is where we're going to create our infographic. This is going to be a graphic, like a vintage style poster. So how are we going to do that? Well, maybe Grania, you can show us how to do that with the Adobe Express app, just to set us up, and then I'll carry on with that. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're using the Adobe Express app to do our graphics. So it's this black one here with a nice rainbow colored A. Okay, and across the top, you can see you've got all your different options sort of for different sizes. I'm just going to go into custom size. Now, straight away, it takes me into where you do all your editing. But if down at the bottom right there, you'll see resize. And when you tap that, it gives you some options. So if we scroll along, we're going to look for print because we're kind of making a poster. And it's a good idea to kind of get the right dimensions for printing. So I'm just going to choose A4 and hit done. And that's me ready to go.
Good stuff. Right, let me just get set up again. Right, here we go. Right, so I'm at the start of Express as well. Very, very similar thing. I'm going to press the plus. I'm going to go to custom size graphic, and on the iPad you have to scroll along at the bottom, but here we just have them all at kind of halfway down. If I press print, you go to A4 because that's an easy one to print from if you want to do that, and then click next. I'll actually just get a completely blank sort of canvas here, get rid of these templates. First thing I'm going to do, you can do this on the browser, not necessarily in the iPad. I'm going to call it Titanic poster. There we go. Right, now we're all kind of at the same point here, and it's a good time for me to go here and say, when I was thinking about what kind of challenge we did, I was Googling Titanic White Star Line poster. So White Star Line was the company in, well, I guess did they make it, or were they the people who ran the actual journeys? I guess they were the steamship company.
Yeah, well, they obviously put up the money, but it was Harrington Wolff in Belfast, wasn't it, that actually built it? But
Yeah.
obviously, White Star Line, I think, owned the liner in the end of it
Right.
all.
Got you. So when I was looking through the different posters, I was kind of, this is one in particular that I thought was a really good one. I like the fact that it had this kind of board around it. I like these banners. I like the flag with the star on it. I like the text on it. Largest liner in the world, White Star Line, all of this kind of stuff. So this is the kind of vibe I was going for. So if we go back to Express, I've got this A4 poster here. Now, if I just click on that, you can change the background. So I'm not gonna choose an image. I'm gonna choose a solid color. And this is in the palette, so let's use that, like a sort of kind of old school, creamy, gone a little bit faded sort of thing. This won't be how it looks in the end, but this is a good place to start. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a photo, right? And I'm gonna put it, well, actually, no. All I'm gonna do is gonna get a shape, because what I want to do is I want to put a photo, but I want to have a kind of border around it. So the way that I'm going to do that is by going to shapes and just selecting this first one that comes in this bizarre kind of orange color. So if I click it and then go over to the right hand side, I can change the color of it, and you can change it to all sorts of different things here, but I'm just going to go with white, and white is always in the top left, and you see here it's all the F's. Okay, so what I'll do is, now that that's in there, I can click on it and then just drag it out, and I'm going to make this kind of mount for the photo that I'm going to put in. Maybe, where am I going to leave it? Round about there, maybe a bit higher here. Right, that'll do for now, and I can play with that in a second. Next thing I'm going to do is actually put a photo on top of that. So if you think about pictures you might have at home, sometimes you have a mount on them, and that just gives it a nice little border around the outside. So if I go to photos, I actually want to use one of the photos which is in here, and it's this one. So this is in our page. I'm going to click it, right click it, save image as Titanic poster image. Right, I've already got that, so I'll replace it, and you can see it's downloaded here. And then if I go into Express, I can upload the photo, and if I just search Titanic, what is it, poster image, there you go, and then hit return, it's going to go in there. Now obviously it's a lot smaller than we want it to be, so let's start dragging it out. Now there are bits of this image which I don't think I'm going to need, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag it so that it's roughly on the left and the right hand side. I want equal spacing there, and then I'm going to go to crop and shape here. If I click that, I can drag this down. Now I want it to have the mast at the top, so I don't want to drag it down further than that, but I'm not bothered about a lot of the stuff at the bottom. So there we go. I'll take it right up to there, and then the tick in the top right, click that, and then I can pull this down until it's roughly in the right spot. I mean, that is pretty close to where I want it to be, really. But I'm going to click the white one and just drag these bits ever so slightly. Now that, by look or whatever, has worked out quite nicely. So Grania, can you get us to that bit on the iPad, please? Give people a chance to catch up if they're on a browser.
Okay, so it automatically adds this little text in, but I'm just going to move it up there for a moment. And I'm just going to tap on the little colors button here because I love a good color palette. So I like to have a look because it gives you nice colors that go together. So I'm going to choose a nice color palette. I found a nice one yesterday.
I'll just be back in 1 sec. Keep going.
Yeah. So we have this nice color palette here. And when you tap on that, it automatically adds a color into the background. But don't panic. You can always change it. I'm just going to hit the done down in the corner. But when you pick a color palette, what it means is that when I tap on the background and I go to color here, you can see it's got my color palette sitting. And the nice thing about color palettes when you're doing design is that the colors kind of all go together. So I'm going to choose this nice blue color for the background and leave it at that. And next thing I'm going to do is to get my shape now and add it in before I add my picture in. So I'll hit the add button down here on the left, and let's go along to shapes. And I'm going to choose the square as well. Now it doesn't automatically add it as it does on the browser. You need to go up to the top right and just where it says add one, just actually tap on that and it'll add it in. And again, I'm going to go to my fill here and I'm going to choose just white. Okay. So let's stretch it out, get it kind of roughly where we want it. Just if you need to see your whole document, sometimes I like to see around the edges. You can pinch on the iPad just to see around it, so I can see where the box actually is sitting, and it looks fairly even there. So I'm going to go now and get my photograph and add it in. So if I tap on photos, it's going to take me to my photo library, and I've already saved some nice images as well, just like we did before. Let me choose, I've got this one. I love these kind of old illustrations they have.
Yeah.
So what it's asking me is, do I want to add it as a collage or do I want to move freely? And I just want it to move freely because I want to be able to place it wherever I want. So, oh, because it's added to, that's why I was on collage. So let's delete one of those. And we'll get it up in place. So let's see how it's going to look.
Oh, that's almost spot on.
Yeah, yeah, maybe I can just, don't need to crop it at all. But if you do, you can see down here, you've got crop and shape, so you can make any changes that you need to do. Don't forget, iPad needs to know what you want to edit, so you must tap on it. So I think that becomes important whenever we start to add all the elements in. You know, tap on the thing that you want to edit.
Yeah.
So that's us.
Good stuff. Right. So next thing is, you see what with Grania, she actually got like placeholder text in hers already. But I don't have that, so I'm going to go over to text and then add your text. And then all I'm going to do here is just put the Titanic. Right, it's got it onto 2 lines, so I can just stretch out this box. And then I can sort of roughly put it where I want. You see that alignment sort of dot? Maybe I'll just zoom in a little bit. Oops, there we go. There we go. Now you can see that it's aligning to the right hand side, which is good. I'll stretch it out to the left hand side as well. And then you can also just see where that pink one, that means it's spot on, slap bang in the middle of the doc. Now, obviously this text doesn't really say old school vintage poster of yesteryear to me. So what I'm going to do is, you can just see down the bottom here, once you've got it selected, it gives you font recommendations. So you can go in there and explore more, bring them all up if you want. And this one here is one that I think is really cool. So I'm going to select that. And it's a bit smaller, so you have to go through that process again of kind of stretching it out and get it in the right place. I might make it slightly smaller than I did before, just because I want to actually change the color of it first. I'll change it to white. So that's in my palette now. Grania was sneaky and she already got her palette sorted. She's better than me. And then also I'm going to put an outline on it. You see down the bottom here. You can just flick that on. Now it's giving me a white outline, which is completely useless. So I'm going to click on the outline color, and then I'm going to go for like an old school red. This is all about like printing techniques. That's how you make it vintage, because back in the day they had kind of sort of fairly heavy sort of muted colors that they could work with. So I'm sort of deliberately choosing a slightly sort of old school red to put in there. So I'm happy with that as my title. And then also actually what I might do here is, because I like this font and I want to keep consistency here in terms of fonts and things like that, I'm actually going to select that and then I'll duplicate it, because I also want to have the outline still on it again. I'll bring this down to the bottom And then what I'll do is I'll just select it. And then what was one of the things that it said on this poster was the largest liner in the world. So let me just change that. The largest liner in the world. Now, obviously, that's massive. We don't want that. I want it to be all on one line. So you just drag it until you've got it in the kind of place you want. Maybe a bit bigger. And then you see that pink line comes up again. So that means it's completely centered on the page, and that's how I want it to be. So I'm going to leave it there. And I like that. So, Grania, can you get us to that bit as well?
Yeah.
There we go.
So do what it says on screen, double tap to edit the text, and you can put in your title for your poster. And maybe put mine on 2 lines. I'm going to hit done. And then with that selected, you can see all the options you have for making changes. So I'm going to tap on font, and there's some really cool fonts. And I have to say, I'm a self-confessed font nerd. I love font. So you get a bit lost whenever you start looking at fonts. I know I do. So where did I see that? Oh, yes, this one. I really like this one.
Yeah, you did like that one.
Yeah. So I can resize it, get it kind of where I want it to go. And that alignment thing is here as well. So you're just pressing and holding the text until you can kind of see that pink line pop up.
Yeah.
Or are you? Oh, there we go. And you kind of got nice and centered. If we tap on effects here, third one over is our outline. We can do that. And anywhere you see the little sliders meet, you can make your changes. Let's change the color. So I'm going to go for white. No, I'm not going to go for white. What am I going to go for? No, maybe I might leave it that one actually, or a darker one maybe.
Yeah, that's good. That works.
So this is my palette, but it doesn't mean you have to stick to your palette. You can go and choose other ones if you want. The other thing you can choose is the little dropper where you can actually pick a color that's in your image, which is nice.
That's a nice idea.
So we're going to hit done, and that's us. What I might do is I'm going to add some more text because I'm going to choose a different kind of font for my little tagline at the bottom. I'm going to choose something that's a bit more like handwriting. So I'll put in the Queen of the Sea. And let's change the font. So let's find some nice kind of
nice
handwriting.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point, really. Sometimes it is nice to have a different font. It kind of breaks it up a bit.
Yeah, so I think that one works. That one's quite a nice one as well. You can read it a little bit easier. Yeah, I think that's looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. You've caught me trying to change my own because I thought yours was better. Right, let me go and stick mine on. So I thought Grania made a good point there, and so I've changed my font so it's a little bit different. And there we go. But I made sure that it was still kind of scripty font with little, flicks on things so that it looked like it was kind of an old school type font. Right. What am I going to do next? Well, if I look at this one, which I like this banner thing. I thought that was quite cool. So I can go to design assets over here and I can search for banner. Now, what I'm looking for is a banner that has 2 sections where I can put writing in. Okay. So this one works quite well, actually. This one down here I put in. Maybe it's not quite as wide as I might want it to be. So actually, if I click it and press replace, maybe I'll choose this one. Yeah, that's a bit wider because now I can scale it up and bring it over here. Maybe scale it down here. Don't want it to be too big, maybe. Maybe that's a bit too big. That's kind of good there. Now, I don't like the color. It's kind of this like inky black. So I'm going to put a filter on it. Wow, pink. Nice. What I think I'll do is I can choose a different preset down here, for example. Do something like this. Or like Grania was doing before, I can click in the black and go to my color picker, and then I can go here and select the color of the outline of my text.
Yeah.
That's why Granya's here, you see, because she has all the best ideas. And then what I want to do is, one of the things is Southampton to New York, and also White Star Line. So I'll put in some text. And actually, maybe what I'll do here is, I might actually repeat this text here. Might duplicate it. And then put White Star Line. Now, I clearly don't want this to be so big. So I'm going to bring it down. Now, it's disappeared somewhere. And that's because in my layer stack, if I open it up, because I duplicated the Titanic one, the White Star Line has gone underneath. And actually, I want it to be on top. And there you go. It's popped out, which is nice. And I'm just going to resize it until I can get it roughly in there. Now, I might also just change the orientation of it ever so slightly so it kind of fits the banner. That'll be nice. And then I'll duplicate it again. And then this time I'm going to need to change. There we go. Just change it ever so slightly. There we go. And that, don't want to put White Star Line again. I'm going to put Southampton, New York. Now that's a lot bigger, obviously. So what I'm going to do is put it on 2 lines like that. I'll put it on 1 line, sorry. And then just get it into position. That is looking pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the banners.
Yeah, you can select the text, and when you do start rotating it, just maybe just try a bit differently like that. All right. Well, I will. I'll hand it over to you, Grania. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, so I'm hitting add, and this time I'm going to go into the design assets. And let's search for banner. And I actually found some really cool ones when I scrolled right the way down yesterday. And I've got these nice ones that look like watercolor painting, so I think they'll suit it really nicely. So let's tap on that. And again, it won't automatically add it, so I'm just going to hit my add one.
Oh, wow. Where did you get that one from?
I just scrolled way down to the bottom yesterday and I discovered them. And I thought,
whoa, that's much better.
So if we go into, let's see, looks, maybe you can change some of them. Maybe if you want them slightly lighter. There's a darker one, but I think the yellow one kind of works because it kind of has that old sepia kind of feel to it. So I'm going to hit done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate my Queen of the Sea text because I think that it would suit going in there. So if I tap on edit here, you can see it gives you the option to duplicate. And let's change that. I'm going to just say from Southampton. There we go. And as you can see, mine's gone in behind as well. So here you can go to order and you can just use the little slider to bring it up or down.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's nice.
I think that happens because when you duplicate, it automatically puts that layer on top of the one you're on. So,
and because my top layer obviously was the banner, it did that. So what you can do on the iPad is you can actually pinch in, which I find really useful whenever I'm working with something small on screen. And it just allows me then to make it a bit easier to get this kind of the way that I want it and move it around. So make sure that it all fits in. Again, I'm going to duplicate that one. And let's change it to New York. And then maybe rotate it slightly that way. We need to make it a little bit smaller, tiny bit smaller. Yeah, I think that works.
That is so good.
I'm going to zoom out. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
I discovered that. It's amazing what you do when you just keep on scrolling down. Find those nice ones, yeah.
Yeah, well, I did. I was similar. So I chose one of those ones that you had before, and I think that looks better. And actually, they did a couple of things. If I go back here, uh, there we go. So when I first put it in, it was kind of bright, and I was like, not really sure about that. And also, White Star Line I thought was quite cramped, so I
Yeah.
pressed the text. And if you go over here on the right hand side, you can change the letter spacing.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So I just kind of made it a bit bigger and then moved it down a bit. But then also, because I was concerned about this being a bit bright, I went into my filter, and actually, if I flipped it up, that
Oh, okay.
happened, and I
So
was
it's
like, "Oh,
dark.
right, that works well." Right.
Yeah.
Last
No.
thing I'm going to do here is, well, actually, maybe I'll put a star in for White Star Line. So I'll get myself a star, stick it in. It's giving me this lovely cream. So I'll change it to white because obviously it's a white star. Stick it over here and then resize it. And then what I might do is just change the orientation ever so slightly so it kind of fits nicely. Well, do you know what? Doesn't really matter, does it? There we go. That works well for me. Now, the thing that is going to make this look more vintage than anything else is a bit of texture. So, design assets again, texture. Now, we have played around with this, and what we found was actually the darker the texture, the better. So, actually, I'm going to go for maybe this third one on the top row. Now, if you put it in, can't really see it that well. But I'll just put it over there, click it, drag it all the way across, and you're like, whoa, that looks mad. But then you can change the opacity, bring it down. That's how much you can see through it or how heavy it is. And I'll bring it down to around about 8. And then that just gives it that sort of grainy look. Nice.
Looks great. Yeah. Yeah.
Go on, you give it a go.
Okay. So let me add my shape in. Let's find our star. Let's go for this one. I'm going to change that to white. Let's resize it. We'll put it up here. And I'm just going to duplicate it. So I've got a couple. We'll put it over here. And
Oh, nice.
the wee lines are really coming in handy now, keeping everything aligned.
Mm.
So done. And then I'm going to go into my design assets and I'm going to search for texture as well. Yeah, I'm going to pick something quite dark. Let's go for this one. Hit add. And again, we need to make sure that it's right over all of our poster. Move it over slightly. And then if I go to opacity here, I can just bring it right down and just play around with it. Make sure you can, yeah, see a little bit of the texture, but we still want to see everything that we put onto our poster.
Very nice. Very nice. That is so cool. Right. Can you show us how to download? We've only got a couple of minutes. So download and then share.
So up on the top right, you'll see you've got an arrow going into a little box, and that's our download. And we're just going to keep it at images, hit download, and that's it saved to the camera roll. And then if we go to the one with the arrow going out of the box, again, keep it on images, hit share. And where do we get our link? There we go, copy link.
So you just have to scroll along a bit for that, do you?
To find the copy link. You have all your other options of different apps. So that's the link copied. So you've got that on your clipboard. You want to
Very
paste
nice.
or yeah.
Right, let's show you how to do that on the browser. There we go. So same sort of thing. You can press the big download button. If you're going to print it out, maybe a PDF is a good one. So you can select that and start the download, and it'll give it the name that you gave it in your project name as well. Good idea to do your project name, because when you want to find it later, you really want to be able to, know what it is. So rather than leaving it as my project, you'll have hundreds of my projects. Click save, and then share, publish, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, or create. a link. And that'll just work away, and then it'll give you your link that you can use whenever you like. Right. That's us for today. Thanks very much, everyone, for tuning in. Don't forget that I'm going to send an email out to your teachers so you can get your swag. So once you've completed your 2 challenges, you can get your swag. And if you're also going to go and teach that to other learners in your school or wherever you are, you can get VIP swag, which would be very nice. I'm going to send out a link so that you can get that. And that's it from the anniversary of the Titanic. Grania, how did you find that?
Brilliant. I love doing the poster work. It's always my favorite.
I know, it is so good, and I can't believe you found that that design asset. That was brilliant. That made all the difference.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, everyone. It was a pleasure as always. Sign up for your next session and make sure you get your swag order in once you've completed your challenges. Good luck with those, and thank you very much. See you next